Hey YouTube, I'm Kevin and you're watching my adventures. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about a new bike. New frame. As some of you know, I've been talking about this new bike that my friend gave me, that some of the parts were a little banged up, to say the least. But basically I was able to get a pristine frame out of it with a much more modern geometry than my old hardtail. Even though it's not new, it's still going to suit my needs very well. I don't like to see things go to waste, so what I want to do is build out this frame to have a nice working bike that's newer than the one I have now and maintain some semblance of a budget. That being said, even though I say, budget, I'm not going to be looking for the absolute rock bottom prices for parts. I'm going to set a budget and I'm going to try to stay within that budget. Hopefully it happens. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I do want to upgrade from the parts that were originally on the bike. So one of the big things I'd like to do is save some weight. That's a heavy bike. But first, I haven't even told you what bike it is yet. So let's get into that. So this is the frame. It's a Fuji Panic aluminum frame. This frame doesn't have a dent, a ding, a chip. I was able to find one scuff over here, right there, that you can barely see. I mean, you have to hold it in the light to see. So this frame is in amazing shape. It's a few years old. It wasn't a super popular bike, but it'll do for my needs. And I'm going to be able to upgrade it from stock to be a much more capable bike and a much lighter bike. As you can see, the front nameplate there still has the plastic on it. This thing it's pretty light too. It comes in at just under 5 pounds, even though when new, this bike, the way it came, was 36 pounds. And some upgraded parts, this thing will be much lighter than stock. But we'll see. So I did leave, as you can see, the derailleur hanger's still on there. And that's about it. I've taken everything else off, and except for these the hydraulic line stays. I can take those, and those are just little plastic connectors. I just left them on there because I didn't want to lose them in my mess here. This should be a fun build. I've never built a bike before. I've never been a bike mechanic. I don't know much about it. When I want to work on my bike, I watch a YouTube video and then I try it out. Or I call my friend who is a bike mechanic and I ask him if it's something that I can do on my own. Most of the time he says yes, and then I watch a video, figure it out, and I'm like, oh, well, that was pretty easy. So this is the biggest bicycle undertaking that I've ever taken on. And as you can see behind me here, I have set up my workshop with some bike specific tools. A lot of this stuff I bought recently, and hopefully it helps me out with this project. I'm not above using the wrong tool for the job a lot of times, but I understand by watching some YouTube videos from some other people and reading the comments that wrenching on a bottom bracket with a pair of channel locks will get you some bad comments. So I've bought some of the right tools to actually make this project hopefully go a lot smoother. I've already got some of the parts, just a couple. I've gotten a new crankset and a chain ring, 36 tooth narrow wide chain ring. This build, I'm going to try to do a 1x10 or 1x11. I think it's going to be a 1x10. I'm looking at possibly going with a couple different parts, either a mid-grade Shimano part or a Microshift Advent X. It just depends on what I can get with the deal and what fits my budget. Now, as some of you might have noticed, the frame's OD green, Army green, and I was in the Army, retired from the Army. I think it would be cool to try to build an Army-inspired build. So what I want to do is try to keep this as blacked out, like murdered out as possible. Kind of tactical OD green, flat black where I can. I'm going to try to stay away from silver components as much as possible. There may be some. Can't get away with black everything, I don't think, but we're going to try. We're going to see how far we get with that. I am going to do a couple things that I've never done before. One of which being I'm going to build a wheel from scratch. So I have a rim. I'm going to buy a hub. I've got spokes. I use the spoke calculator and I put in the rim, put in the hub I want to get, which is a Shimano XT rear hub. Comes with the nipples. And there. Black, 260 millimeter. So building a wheel is going to be a real project for me. I've never done anything like that before. I've tightened and loosened some spokes to kind of true up a wheel before that was on a bike. So this will be completely new and completely out of my comfort zone. We're going to give it a shot. Hopefully it works out well. So one of the places where I think I can save a lot of weight are the front forks. The forks that came on the bike were, I don't even, what was the company? Fuji Panic, made by Zoom. They're coil, and they're all, I don't know if they're all steel or this is aluminum, or I think it's aluminum. I think it's some kind of alloy. Anyway, I've weighed, I have all the old parts from the bike and I've weighed them. I should be able to save a good amount of weight here. I am going from a square tapered bottom bracket that weighs quite a bit to a Hollowtech. Stay tuned because there's a lot more to come with this build. I hope to have it done before it snows, so I can get out there and test it out. I will test it out in the snow, but I'd rather not. First ride, I'd really like to just kind of test it out on some of my local trails that I know, my backyard trails. But we'll see. Step 1, done. 250 more to go. I know I'm going to learn something. Hopefully you learn something too. Or hopefully you're there to tell me that I'm doing something wrong, or you like what I'm doing. Let me know either way. If you have any ideas, also let me know. Want to try to post up the budget that I'm working with and maybe a parts list of what I get, and then at the end we'll be able to see if I stayed under budget. I may be able to buy some upgraded parts from what I was originally thinking if I save some money on some other areas. So let me know if you have any ideas. Let me know if you have any parts that may work for this bike, and we'll talk. We'll see if it fits in the budget. Maybe we'll get your parts on this bike. Who knows? I want to do a mullet build, so it's going to be 27.5 up front and a 26 out back. This bike was a 26-inch. I don't think I'm going to be able to fit anything bigger than a 26. I haven't been able to find out a lot of information about this bike. Didn't seem like it was a super popular bike. This is the original Panic. It's not the 1.0 or the 2.0 or anything like that. It's just the original Fuji Panic. I was able to find some stuff like the weight. It was like 36 pounds and some change. And that's about it. I did briefly see something about the geometry of this bike, but I can't find it again. The head tube angle's a little bit slack from my 20-plus-year-old Specialized hard rock. It's not surprising. It's going to do what it needs to do for me, for sure. If that makes any sense. I don't think it makes any sense at all. Sometimes words are hard, so bear with me. Sometimes talking to a camera and not looking like a psychopath is hard. So, again, stay with me. So that wraps it up. Remember, like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, and make sure you subscribe. Let's get out there.
Subscribe to my dad's channel.